This is the Monday edition of the SportsCage. Already up to September 15th here. Thanks for making time. Next 3 hours, Maz is going to be with me. Colson is in the pocket. We are going to talk about our Saskatchewan Roughriders dropping their third game of the season this weekend. And touch on the Rams, the Thunder, some high school football scores. Luc Mullinder is going to jump on in hour 2 for the coaches show. If you got any questions for Luc on the game, let him fly. You're always welcome to engage with us on the Prairie Land Rentals text line, 936-6262. Heck, if you want to call, you can call as well. We'll have Darian Durant in hour 3. Your questions welcome there, too, for doubles. Brought to you by Campbell Safety Consulting. So we have a show for you today. And I know it wasn't the Monday. We didn't come into this Monday the way a lot of us thought on Friday. If you did, I think you're lying to us. Because I think most of us thought we had things cased against the Montreal Alouettes. Not so much. Maz is with me, like I said. You and I are texting back and forth throughout the game, but more early in the game. It just had a weird feeling. And you didn't have to be a former professional football player or coach, even college or junior football player, to see that the Alouettes knew where to attack us.
Whatever Jason Moss's pregame speech was Saturday at Mosaic, it worked. Maybe you bottle that and use that for the rest of the year. I said last week, McLeod Bethel Thompson could hang 45 on these guys. Well, there was more than 45. I got the team wrong. But in thinking about it, I said if we're being honest, the Riders were either going to blow this thing out or they were going to lose, and this was a classic trap game because everybody was going to be thinking about the bye week and not about beating the Alouettes. And look what happened. Man, Montreal played well. That was a physical football game. On defense, they were punishing. Darnell Sankey was a man on a mission. Number 1 for the Alouettes, former Rider. I really liked him. He was all over the place. And obviously Tyson Philpott going off for a career game. Wow.
God, come on. 238 yards receiving? You don't see that happening that often in the league anymore, Maz.
Selfishly, Barney, after the game, I thought, we have Josh Bell on, who runs those DBs, pass game coordinator. Awesome guy. We had a great time. We were talking about the next time he's coming on the show. And then they get lit up. And I'm like, was it us? Were we the curse? Is he never going to be like, no? Because football players are superstitious to be like, we let a guy, some games you get 200 yards passing, not an individual receiver. And Charleston Hughes said it. McLeod Bethel Thompson's a gunslinger. They got nothing to lose, and he's not afraid to go deep, and he did.
I don't know if I want that today. We're going to have Luc on in hour 2. Hey, again, text in. I don't want the guy to go, told you so. Told you. Nope, I knew. No, you know what? You didn't. Because the guys that get paid lots and lots and lots of money to set the lines had us at 8.5. Like that is not...
The Riders winning by 8.5.
Yeah, that is not a pick 'em.
It was the Riders.
That is not a pick 'em. So I really want to be cautious with the guy or girl that is like, told you, trap game. Knew it was happening. No, you didn't. You know why? Because Montreal looked awful the week before. Yeah, McLeod Bethel Thompson came in, but let's not talk about McLeod Bethel Thompson like Matt Dunnigan suited up or Danny McManus or Anthony Calvillo. Yeah, he's a serviceable quarterback. I personally think the Alouettes, who had Kerfella Exumi in the lineup at some point in the last few years, they said, you know what? We are going to attack this. This is how we're going to do it. This is the look that we're looking for, and then we're going to go after it. I could be totally off base, but I would put good money that was it. And they kept going at it. Unfortunately for Exume, he was outmatched. Like, there's no sugarcoating it. I think you had the one clip, Colson, right of the, what is that, a slow-go that Philpott runs? And it was the other one. Well, this one too. Doesn't matter. Like that is really open. That is D division touch football Regina, where the guy shows up in his jeans and you just attack him open. You have to feel bad for the guy.
The Rider D-line didn't get any pressure on McLeod Bethel Thompson. They had no sacks, very little pressure. There's very few times he ever looked uncomfortable in the pocket where he had to force things. Because that's where the Riders' bread and butter comes from. We're going to make you make mistakes on defense because we're going to bring a lot of pressure. Now, whether that's just pressure or it's sacks or whatever we're going to do, and we're going to force you into mistakes, you're going to turn the ball over, and then here comes the offense, and then we're going to chunk it down the field. We're going to run on you. We're going to pass. But there was none of that. And the Riders got behind. And it just, even in the first quarter, you could just tell, I'm like, uh-oh, Montreal's got something here. And who would have thought that Montreal loses their running back on the first play, and the backup guy, who's never really had any snaps, comes in. What did he end up with? Let me check this. Did he end up like 120 yards?
Who, the running, Stevie Scott? Oh, Stevie Scott. Sorry, Stevie Scott the third? 125 yards.
Yeah, they ran it down our throat.
Luke, in hour two, that can be your first question. This Riders defensive line that has been in fuego all over quarterbacks. Team Sean Campbell from Montreal, the play-by-play guy for the Montreal Alouettes, sat right beside me here. The Riders are the best team in the league. That defensive line, like I said. And it was almost like they said, hey, Montreal, you guys can play with 15 guys today. Put some extra guys on the line. I use the word again. It's kind of like that first Calgary game. It just felt weird. Felt really weird. Tommy Stevens fumbling. And I know some people are going to go, well, he's trying to get too much. That's his job.
He's greedy.
That's his job, though.
Okay. Get down. You got it. I get it because he's had success running and they keep going. But sometimes it's easy to armchair quarterback this. You get it, go down. You got greedy, and then you got popped. When you get exposed like that, and that's the tough part. Now, a lot of people are like, hey, listen, what about Marcus Sayles and what about Tavon Campbell? They're game time decision. They don't play. You throw a wrench into the Rider roster because now the depth is getting tested. Why didn't they play? Unless you've got something, I don't have any. Was it Sayles' knee from last week, and was it still Tavon Campbell's head that kept him out of practice earlier in the week that would have kept him out of the game on Saturday?
Another thing too, and I sprinkled. Luke's gonna come on. We said I'm taking the Riders minus 8.5. I don't care. The Riders gonna blow them out. I took a hit there. I took a hit on McLeod Bethel Thompson passing yards, like real bad. Like someone should come to my house and slap me. I was so off on that one. And my anytime touchdown scorers are way off too. On Friday, I was at one of those guys is playing. Campbell or Sayles. I can't see them both not playing. I was wrong there. And then you go, and I don't know, anybody else like me? You're sitting back and you're going, we're good. Like, we are a good team. We're going to be all the pressure we're going to put on the law firm in the backfield there. These guys, and Montreal's coming in here. And then you wake up Saturday morning and it's the downpour. And the wet, and I'm like, hey, well, this benefits us. This is good. AJ, how you doing? Mario Anderson, run the ball. Tommy Stevens, be ready. Get your boots on. And then it was the exact opposite. Where's that egg on my face graphic? We're gonna just put that up in the corner of the stream all day. And if you're out there and you are like, I told you so, you're lying. You are an absolute liar.
There are some people that want to blame the command center for Saturday. Like, give your head a shake. The command center had nothing to do with the Riders getting schooled. There were, I don't know how many times you saw AJ Ouellette when he was picking himself up off the turf. He looked like he was taking a beating. The Montreal defense was fierce. And it was a physical football game. And I think, if we're being honest, the Riders didn't play as physical as the Alouettes. They really got dominated on the lines of scrimmage.
Yeah. So we already had a few texts.
Runs.
We already have a few. If you go to the text line, Matt, we already got a few texts on that. What you're talking about right there.
Being physical. And they punished Ouellette. Like, if he got 2 yards, there were 2 or 3 guys laying on top of him. And Barney, you know what happens in a football pile when no one's looking. Look at Josh Allen getting his nose broken yesterday. That's just from a random flyby arm that stuck out. Ooh. The Alouettes showed up because now for them, the playoffs have started for the Alouettes. They lost 5 straight. For them to make the playoffs, it's desperation mode. They got to win everything going forward. And all I could think was, imagine if they did have Davis Alexander in this game. What could this be? Because Alexander's a running threat as well.
That might have been a detriment, the way things went on Saturday. Just let McLeod protect him and let him throw the ball on one cornerback that probably shouldn't have been in the game.
I want to check, when we go to our first commercial break, I want to check this. The record the Alouettes had before Sean Lemon, I wonder what he sprinkled on the game, got inserted into the lineup. They were doing well. He got put in. Then they went on this losing streak or became incredibly inconsistent. He didn't play on Saturday, and they had to go back to those other guys that they had.
What are you doing Saturday? Want to come play? Want to come play football in Regina?
Sure. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know. It was a good wake-up call. Just like Charleston said, hey, just when you think it's all going your way, and then you lay an egg at the worst time, get exposed.
This is why I really enjoy the league. Because you have no idea what's going on week to week. Edmonton beats Calgary. Ottawa beats Calgary. BC goes somewhere and they play and they look like a 6A team. And it happened to us. This time it happened to us. It bit us right in the, is it bud? Is that the right word?
And I know there's a lot of people talking. Do you think that Trevor Harris has been off the past couple games? Like the yards per completion are down and all that. He hasn't played,
They're slow, man. They start slow. That's been well documented too. Dave had it on last week. He's like, hey, what about the slow starts? It's not like they want to start slow. That's the other thing. They just are. It's like an old locomotive. Takes a while to get trucking. Can I read a couple text messages here? No?
Yes.
Gary, the first one. Hey, G. He says, I agree with Barney. Well, I also, and you spelled my name right. I also think the reason they had trouble getting to the quarterback is because they were having trouble covering those guys. So one thing led to all things, it seemed.
Yeah.
Karen, hey, I love our coaches and our team, but I think Montreal came out with a better game plan. Just saying. We made no adjustments at halftime. I could see Blitz, Bethel Thompson. Thank you. Karen this is a point that I was wondering too. And again, with Luc coming on in hour 2, that's why I put Luc in hour 2 because I knew we would build up a bunch of these questions. So Colson, maybe when Luc comes on, let's remember some of these. Tinted glasses, Moss. He had a nice game plan against us. And he was a former quarterback. And I think I was expecting, much like Karen, halftime adjustments. All right, we're going to be doing something totally different. Maybe they did, and Montreal just game planned it around it better. I don't know. But I was expecting that halftime switch. Here we go. And then I'm still in Weirdville here. What is going on? Keith Urban, I started guzzling gin at halftime, getting prepped for the con. I'm like, I got to get into a different headspace here. What is going on to our team?
Sidebar, quick, Keith Urban, I read today. Do you know he likes to drive himself to the venue from the hotel? He doesn't like getting
Get out of here.
Because he said it'd be like somebody else playing my guitar. I like to do that because then he feels like he's in control.
Do you take one of those orange scooters?
I saw somebody do a massive wipeout the other night downtown. Just like hit part of a parked car. It was not good.
I'm not done with the text messages.
I know. You talk about those halftime adjustments. The way Moss had it dialed in, if they would have adjusted, Moss, I think, would have had something to adjust to that. I think a lot of us we were feeling so overconfident about Saturday is because when we went to Montreal earlier in the season, it was such a dominant performance, but Montreal was missing like 6 core guys. And it wasn't a true representation. Now, they were still missing a couple of guys. There was no, I want to say Miles Davis. Miles Davis is a trumpet player. Big
trumpet player guy.
On, brain goes out. I think a lot of us got caught up in, we were so dominant. We're like, yeah, the Alouettes never made it past the 46 last time.
Yeah, I didn't, like I said, I'm here to throw myself out there. It wasn't the last game against Montreal where I thought we were going to work them. It was the week before how they looked like hot garbage, and we looked actually pretty deadly. And then it was just like the bizarro world on Saturday. Ron and Deb, Pidge Lake, they would, I would suspect they would have drove in for that game in the downpour. Rider replacement and corners roasted. Their big guys beat up our big guys. Game over. Gary in Winnipeg. Riders had a bad game. Forget about it. Move on. Focus on the remaining games. That will secure first place. I would suspect they're going to try and do that a bit. But you also got to look at this game and go, we cannot have this happen again. Oh, and then I love the fact that on Sunday morning, news release comes out that the Roughriders have signed American defensive back Sheldrick Redwine. Sweet handle. He's
great name.
6 foot, 196 pounds. Selected by the Cleveland Browns in the 4th round, 2019. He had other stops: Dallas Cowboys, Indianapolis Colts, who are a wagon, Washington Commanders. Collegiately, he played for the University of Miami. But he didn't play football last year.
Yeah. There's my red flag.
Riders had a little throw around in Atlanta yesterday. I think it was yesterday. So they had a little mini camp, a little throw around, right? They seemed to do this. Dave Thomas let me know, and I was like, that makes sense. Where they probably find red wine. And they said, hey, what are you doing? You want to come play? I don't know. I like this move. I don't know the guy. He could be sitting right beside me. But I like his credentials, even though he hasn't played. 6 foot. Lots of NFL experience.
But Barney. 0 with the waggle. You can't tell me Kerfala Exume with over 80 games played in the CFL. And after a while, I felt really bad for the guy because he's getting roasted online, like anywhere you go. And he's used to playing against the waggle. Who was the other guy that we had in the other newcomer, 37? And they only went after him once or twice because I figured if Exume closes this down over here, or if the Riders were to roll coverage to help Exume out, they would have to go to the other side and pick on Webb to do that. But if you haven't seen the waggle before, you're lost. You have no idea. Somebody coming downhill at you at full speed.
You're talking about Sap.
Sap, not Webb. Sorry.
Yeah, but usually out in the corner, though, you're not going to deal with the waggle. That's coming more from an inside position. And you would hope as an athlete, yeah, it's probably going to take some time to adjust. Sore Exuma, if he's listening to the program, he knows he had an off day. If he's still in town, he was the dad that got called up to come. Hey, we're short a guy. Can you come play with us tonight in flag or in touch football? And he comes out there, and then they just go right after him. We can't sugarcoat it. You can't. Watch those highlights again. If you're watching the stream, Colson will fire him up. This is somebody's dad that came to play, and look how far behind he is. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Sorry, hey, we got to call spade a spade on this one.
Well, no, because the past couple weeks, there was a lot of highlights being shown, Rider Nation. So keep in mind, this is a dose of our own medicine. Remember when, like, that game before, Riders are on the one, and Mueller calls that double move, and Robustelli goes and gets it, and he made the DB from Winnipeg look really bad? Well, there was a couple of these double moves that made our guys look really bad. This week, it's our turn to take that medicine. And
they're like, those moves are really hard to cover on good receiver. There's no doubt about it. But how
Here's the double move right here.
Open they are. Yeah. It happens. It happens. I'm surprised we didn't maybe game plan against it.
Like Vival, they're like, you're a clown. I'm like, well, no, that was a good football play. That was a really good play call. That was a really nice route by the receiver. And Vival did everything he could to try and keep up.
Jeff from Weyburn, you guys might have to go talk about this over the buffet one day. He says, hey, Mads, I guess when Tommy was QBing for the Stamps, he should have just gone down once he had the first down instead of running for 69 yards. Come on, he says. I agree with you, Jeff.
As a Rider fan, it would have been good if he would have went down after 1 yard. But it's funny, after that, it was lights out Stamps, because that was the Arquel Armstead career highlight game, period, exclamation point, done, never to be seen or heard from again.
Glenn in Regina, he's our guy. He's our first shooter that's saying, call me a liar if you want, but I told my wife before the game that this could be a trap game, given the emotion of the two games against Winnipeg. Having said that, I didn't expect such a poor effort. Still don't understand how that wasn't a pass interference call on Johnson. A lot of people are talking about that, too. It's... Love the league, Matt. Love the league. Love it. What happened? I went to Keith Urban. I woke up the next morning, a little foggy. I'm getting text messages about what happened in the Bantam AA final draft thing that I forgot about. Then I'm going through the Rider tweets and all that. I'm just like, oh yeah, man, that was a bad football game by us. Okay, so far all the texters are on the same page. I was waiting for Jeff on the YouTube chat in Calgary. Jeff, let's be on it. You've been waiting all day to message in, haven't you? And I appreciate that. I love that about you, Jeff. We're going to have to read some of his when we come back. Let's take a quick break. It's a Sports Cage. We're streaming.
Riders did clinch a playoff spot. Besides all that, because of what everybody else did in the league, the Riders did clinch a playoff spot.
We're not even talking about that. We can't be happy about that. We can't.
Backdooring in.
Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com. We're on the home of the Riders, 620 CKRM. Welcome back. It's for Kellen Solar, located in Lumsden, Saskatchewan, but work all over the province. If you need something done on the... my thing's not working here, by the way. Sorry. Yeah.
If you're on the farm, you need to...
There we go.
You can't move the cows, move the water.
Solar power, yeah. Yeah, it's big in the winter. They put them up. You don't have to run the lines and all that. Let the solar water thing do its thing. And if you need it for the cabin, the home, farm, whatever, Kellen Solar, local. They're not fly-by-night. They're here in Lumsden, Saskatchewan. Okay, so the other thing we have today, we got winning. We're not giving away chicken. We're not giving away tickets or anything to football. We're giving away tickets. This concert has me revved. September 15th, that's today. We got two pair. We got one pair. One pair today, one pair tomorrow. March 1st at SaskTel Center in Saskatoon.
March? It's September. What?
Live. So the band live. If you are in our demographic.
The band, so Ed Kowalczyk in the band live. Lightning crashes all over you.
Oh, I Alone. Throwing Copper, what an album. Tickets, and then they are coming with Big Wreck and special guest Econoline Crush, couple of Canadian acts. Live, Throwing Copper. That is high school. That is grade 11 and 12 to a T for anyone that's in my demographic. So, 2 tickets today, March 1st show in Saskatoon, 936-6262. You got to let us know what your favorite live song is. We'll do this right up until 6 o'clock. If you throw in a rider text, too, you might have better odds. Colson's going to pick a winner. We got tickets to give away tomorrow. What an album. Selling the Drama. Great song.
I've been so, for the past 6 weeks, I have been so about on my social media feeds, the Oasis reunion tour that's now in Mexico City. Or just
overrated.
That's been all over the place. No way. I'm going back and I'm re-listening to be like, these guys were good. They're so good. The fans, it's incredible. People are calling it biblical.
Oh, easy.
Speaking of concerts.
Jeffrey from Calgary style there. Had to take a shot at you, Jeff.
Would the best thing on Friday night when Morgan Wallen walks out with Connor McDavid rips off his shirt and there was a Toronto Maple Leaf shirt underneath that, to be like, see ya, suckers. Have a good night. And I'm out. Play whiskey glasses.
I felt that was an awkward walkout. My wife said the same thing. Chewing his gum, kind of look, but that's the hockey play. Hockey players don't really have that swagger like a basketball or football guy. You know, for the most, there's kind of just they're not full of themselves. So he's sitting there with the plaid and it looks like he had a 12-inch sub under his hat. It was all awkward looking and chewing his gum and didn't like
Peyton Manning in a football uniform looked more comfortable than Connor McDavid walking around in street clothes. Okay. That's how uncomfortable that was. I'm like, I get it, but. And then how was the show if you were there? Because what I read, between the 2 concerts, they sold 114,000 tickets at Commonwealth Stadium.
A lot of people from this province went. I saw it on social media.
Oh, yeah.
And you should.
No shortage of people there.
I'm glad the weather held.
Yeah, it was nice weather, both nights.
Imagine if that show was in Regina on Friday, Saturday.
Oof.
It would have been Poncho Central. Get that umbrella down. Shut up. Yeah, I thought it was an awkward. No Leon, though? Where's Leon over in Germany? Yeah, Leon's in PA. I thought it would have been a Leon combo.
Well, that's what I thought, too. But I'm like, well, maybe Leon's stretching every moment of his honeymoon out. I mean, he was a question on Jeopardy last week. Colson, do we have that? Or Leon's girlfriend or now wife was a question on Jeopardy. But yeah, it was just Connor McDavid and nobody else. And then on Sunday, because apparently that was the last night of the tour, he walked out with his whole band.
Saturday.
There were no celebrities. Yeah. He didn't bring out Ed Hervey and like Cody Fajardo or anything like that.
I wanted Gizmo.
It was just him and his band that came out on Saturday. Opening acts on Friday. Miranda Lambert was Friday. Brooks and Dunn was on Saturday.
How did McLeod Bethel Thompson have 370 yards passing? Tyson Philpott 238 yards receiving. So I asked Colson. I said like 238. That is a lot. And then Colson starts going down a little bit of a rabbit hole of 300-yard games.
Yeah, the most we've had is... Now I'm in the wrong part of the page. Hold on. Receiving. The most we've had in one game was 338.
We? As in the Riders?
CFL.
Okay, CFL.
Oh. We as in the CFL. The most in one game was 338.
What year?
1956.
Ooh.
And then we had 2 other 300-yard games in the 90s.
What, 90, like
94.
mid-90s?
Both of them in 94.
Alan Pitts?
Is not on the list.
Alan Pitts not on the list.
No.
He had a big
sold
years.
Steroids, though. I caught at the border. He did. It's a proven fact. Google it.
There's also a couple 275s in 99 and 95. But if you're just wondering about the 300s, the 338 in 1956 goes to Prince Hal Patterson of the Montreal Alouettes.
Sweet handle. And then what about I need the 94s right in my wheelhouse.
Was it
Anthony
Arlen Bruce
Calvillo
II?
was in Vegas? Was he slinging it around?
He was, and he was actually slinging it to this guy.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not going to be able to name a receiver from the Las Vegas Posse.
He was with the Posse for 94, then they moved to Shreveport for 95, and then he was with the Riders 96 to 99.
Oh, Maz, you got to know this.
Ooh, who is it going to be?
American wide receiver.
Uh-huh. Let's see. No, drawing a blank.
So I'm just
Olsen.
confirming. Anthony Calvillo
Olsen.
was throwing to Curtis Mayfield.
Yes.
And against the Ottawa Roughriders, 14 receptions, 319 yards.
Jeffrey on the YouTube chat, 338 in 56. That would be half the total passing yards for the season. That's kind of what I was thinking, Jeffrey, too. They weren't really slinging it around the yard back then. Okay, so who was the other one in 94? You said there was two?
Yes.
What team? Or Canadian team?
Let's see, 94.
And is it a well-known quarterback, or is it some 5-cent common that played for like 3 games?
I don't have that much information on this one. Yes, it was a Canadian team. He played for the Bombers 93, 94. And then he was between stints going to the NFL. Because with 91, 92, he was with the Browns. 95, 96, he was with the Vikings.
Okay, who is it?
Alfred Jackson Jr.
I wouldn't have got that. I was way off.
He doubled as a cornerback as well.
It's not Johnny Alberta. I'm guessing it's not the Curtis Mayfield who sang "Move On Up." Funny. We had some real comedians. 936-6262. Prairie Line Rentals text line. Prairie Line Rentals, 600 Albert Street in Regina. Whatever that rental project, whatever you need done, they can help you out there. And then they're getting into Husqvarna season soon. And then if you're on the YouTube chat, fire away there as well. Going back out, Jeff saying Mace definitely deserves his share of blame for not scheming to give the corners help or adapting through the game. Again, question maybe for Luc, maybe Darian. What do they think about the halftime adjustments or lack of?
Well, I know in injury, because who went down? Revis went down. And then, so they bring Dalkey in. And I know he's more of a safety / linebacker / but at that point, what's the harm throwing him out to corner? Like, if you know that the guy is, and then Antoine Brooks Jr., who was on the roster, and he got lit up in the first Calgary game, but to me, I like him. And at that point, after the first, second, what about him out there? Was it going to be worse? I don't know.
Yeah, something.
Anything. But the fact that they got no pressure on McLeod Bethel Thompson, like none. There were no sacks. He never ever looked in jeopardy, like he was running for his life.
That's where it'll be nice in hour 2, Luke. Like, was it just straight being out physicaled again, or did Montreal offensive line, did they scheme something to take away what the Riders are having success with against other teams? We'll find out from Luke. We got to take a break, though. Giving away tickets to Live with Big Rec coming up March 1st. Also, a Econoline Crush. If you were a fan of Live, Throwing Copper, great album, 936-6262. What was your favorite song? Let us know. It's a SportsCage, streaming at sportscage.com. It is for Kellen Solar. Anything you need solar, whether it's a livestock operation or home solar, team in Lumsden, Saskatchewan can help you out. All right. University of Regina Rams, they're a buzzsaw. Another win on the weekend. They're now 3-0 in the season. UBC 37-20. They dumped him. Nice night for Marshall Erickson again. Nicholas Sirleaf and Noah Pelche.
What was it? To like 27 rushes for 196 yards? Like, hey, save the ball for somebody. Spread it around a little, okay? Wow. Another dominant performance by the Rams.
If you're in the Regina area and you're not on this bandwagon and what the Rams are doing, hop on. Lots of room. Big test this weekend. U of S up in Saskatoon. We're hoping to talk to one of the coaches from the U of S Huskies who is from Regina on Wednesday. I know you're going to be talking to some of the Ram player and hopefully a Ram coach as we get later in the week. And then the Regina Thunder improved to 4-1 with a 25-12 win over the visiting Winnipeg Rifles Sunday afternoon. Peter Borscht, the running back, the beet soup, 183 along the ground. He's been good for the Thunder. Adam Mosier, 14-29, 199 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Thunder amassed 430 yards of net offense. They're going to travel to Winnipeg for the rematch next week.
No disrespect to the rest of the CJFL, to the PFC.
Mm-hmm.
But how about we just say, guys, we know it's not going to be happening. Can the Hilltops and the Thunder just play? Yeah, best of 3, best of 5, best of 7, and let's just fight it out there to see who's going to move on. Like Calgary Colts, thanks for coming. Edmonton Huskies, Edmonton Wildcats, Winnipeg Rifles.
Take a seat.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. How about we just do this? We'll go back and forth. Regina Sask. Let's choose to do that and figure it out that way.
I got one better for you. Thunder, Hilltops, you guys got to play 3 times. Sprinkle. Winnipeg beat the Hilltops this year, though. So maybe we'll let Winnipeg stay just because they don't like us. We don't like them. Yeah. And then you know what? We're going to sprinkle in maybe a little Okanagan Sun. They got tons of money. Let them fly here. Put them up give them free hotels like senior hockey teams used to travel into a place. Free hotels, and we'll give you like some pasta buffet. Free rooms at the Coachman, pasta buffet across the street. Okanagan, Thunder. That would sell. We're not coming there, though. It's too expensive. You got to come
Taxes
here.
In BC. Exactly. Paying $2 a liter for regular gas. Shell? You kidding me?
I was gonna give the updates of the Regina High School football scores. They don't have them updated on the website, though. We only can do so much here. Not updated yet. Colson's keeping a hawk eye on that. We have our Friday Night Lights coming up on Wednesday again this week, where we look at high school football around the province. Brought to you by Warren Steinley, always on Saskatchewan's side. MP for Regina Louvain. There's a game tomorrow that I found out. Lemberg and the Highway 22 Storm, they play in the ever-popular Tuesday match in Lemberg tomorrow. So I didn't even find that out. I'll give you a little bit more university action here. The women's soccer team, they were in Edmonton. They lost 6-0 to McEwen and then 2-1 to Alberta on Sunday. And then the other one I wanted to give hockey was at it. Women's hockey, they played in Yorkton, dropping 2-1 to Saskatoon on Friday night, defeated Manitoba 3-2. Men's hockey dropped both games to Manitoba, but they were good. 6-5 in overtime on Friday. And then Saturday, the rainy Saturday muggy game at C6, they won 2-1 in a shootout. Manitoba did. So that's a little rundown of university athletics in Regina. Thanks to Braden over there. Always supplies us a nice little rundown. Like, we'll talk more Rams as we go. They're a good team. Vanier's here. We just want one of the Saskatchewan teams, preferably the Rams, one of the Saskatchewan teams in the Vanier this year. And bring Laval. Let's smash Laval at home.
That's a powerhouse. There's dudes, 35, full
the
beard,
boogeyman.
4 kids, full beard, 3rd marriage, smoking cigarettes, playing D-line, lining up like it's their 2nd ever game in college football. Like exactly. Hilltop and Thunder. Nobody cares about anything else. It's University Ball, exactly. Can you beat Laval or the Montreal Carabins? Those are the two teams. Then they must have great payrolls. It doesn't matter because if I say it, you can't prove that I was right or that they were wrong. But they always seem to be in the mix somehow, allegedly.
Laval guys trying to find someone can watch their kids. Can I just take my kids on the charter? Yeah, they're Vanier. Let's get one of those Saskatchewan teams in. Still more to come. Oh, the other news out of Rider Camp today. They have Co-op Community Zone, it's going to be called. Designated area, approximately 2,000 seats, spanning the entire 600 level. Great idea. At Mosaic Stadium. They're partnering with Co-op. And tickets go on sale September 22nd for the Roughriders October 10th game and 25th home games. $20. Heck of a deal. All preseason games, regular season games are going to be $20. Labor Day's 30, but Labor Day's already passed.
Taking kids anywhere these days is expensive, and I think this is a really good opportunity, especially if you've never been before and you're just going to go. Especially you're going to try it out because it's funny if you have kids. There's things that you'll do, but you'll try them once just to see how it goes before you take a family consensus or vote, or your wife just makes a decision of whether you're going to do it again or not. And this is one of those ways to be like, all right, the kids were good. They were able to sit through, especially when they're younger. Oh yeah, they were able to sit through like
$20.
Three quarters of a football game.
$20. Awesome. Good idea. Good on Co-op for jumping on. It's the Sports Cage. Still more to come. We got a ticker coming up after this. Starting in the new hour, we're going to have Luc Mullinder and also giving away tickets to Big Wreck, Econoline Crush, and the Headliner live March 1st in Saskatoon. We're streaming at sportscage.com. Sports Cage Power Rankings fresh off the press here, and I can tell you that the experts still picking the Saskatchewan Roughriders as the top team in the CFL. Calgary Stampeders, Hamilton Tiger Cats, BC Lions moving up, as are the Montreal Alouettes moving up to 5th. Toronto, Winnipeg, Ottawa, and the Ottawa Red Blacks are last. Yeah. Blue Jays 4 up on the Yankees. In the AL East, start a series in Tampa in about an hour's time. NFL tonight, 2 games. Tampa Bay at Houston. Houston's a 2.5-point favorite there. Chargers are in Las Vegas a little bit later. Chargers are 3.5-point favorites. Tough news, Cincinnati Bengals fans. Quarterback Joe Burrow sustained a grade 3 turf toe injury. He's going to be out at least 3 months. Potential return mid-December. WHL is mourning the tragic passing of former Calgary Hitman player Orca Weisblatt. He will be remembered by his brothers Ozzy, Oasis, and Ocean, along with his entire family. He was only 25 years old. SportsCage.com poll today. Are you concerned following the Saskatchewan Roughriders 48-31 loss to Montreal? There's 3 different choices. You can check it out at SportsCage.com. The sports tickers for Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals, keeping you in hot and soft water. Call on Reliance. Hour 2 will start with Luc Mullinder, Sports Cage, on the home of the Riders, 620 CKRM. Hour 2 of the show for Kellen Solar on this Monday. We're talking about the Riders. 3 losses on the season now. I'm wondering, Maz, if we go back to training camp in May and you say, after the second week of September, the Riders are sitting at 10-3. I hate when people do this, but I'm doing it anyway. We would take that. We'd take that all the way to the bank.
All day long.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? What? We're going to be 10-3? We're going to be... The only part I don't like about 3 is I don't like how we've lost. Now, you could say that about any time you lose. Like on Saturday.
I get what you're saying.
Choke one away, and they lose 31-30 to Toronto. That was their own fault. They... For whatever reason, like they screwed up at the end of the first half. They could have killed more clock. They could have taken a safety, all that. They lose by 1. And then Dinwiddie, after the game, he's fired up, running past the bench, talking trash, because apparently they were talking trash. So there's losing like that. But it's the way that we've lost, and it's been decisive, and it's been where they've attacked our strengths. It wasn't just like a one-off, off the bar and in type situation. And maybe that's why. And I mentioned it last week on the show. Like, we're never going to lose another game again, right? We're drunk with power these days. We are in love with our reflection.
If you're just tuning in and you missed...
And power ranking rise, because I read this because I get to put in for power rankings. The Saskatchewan Roughriders are not my number one team. The Calgary Stampeders are still the number one team in the CFL, according to me, because they beat the Riders twice.
They don't let me touch anything about the power rankings. Especially after my sprinkles on the weekend and the Riders, I should not be allowed to be involved in any of this. Someone was holding a gun to my head, though.
It doesn't matter. You can bet on whatever and say whatever. Riders 1, Stamps 2, Ticats 3. Ooh, Hamilton. Careful, that's a thin 7 and 5. It's a thin.
The one thing we don't want today, and we started the show with this, and we have only had, I think, one text so far, and I'm gonna let it slide. We don't want you texting in Prairieland Rentals text line saying, "I told you, I knew this was gonna happen." No, you didn't. We didn't.
Put your name on.
Maybe said, "Hey,
go through last week's.
Watch them lose. Watch them lose this game. Watch them lose this game." Maybe somebody said that, but you didn't seriously get up, look yourself in the mirror, and say the Riders are going to get the brakes beat off them at home against Montreal and McLeod Bethel Thompson.
There may have been people would have said, "I think it's going to be maybe a close game, and maybe the Owls win by like 3 or 5." But it wasn't the dominant performance that Montreal. Physically, they beat up the Riders on both sides of the line. They won the trenches. Then they looked like Darnell Sankey was on a mission. He was everywhere. Tyson Philpott was everywhere in our kitchen. Darnell Sankey was everywhere.
Tyson Philpott had 238 yards. Come on. That no one had it. Who's Stevie Scott the third? He had 125 rushing the ball.
Tyson Philpott spent more time in pill country than a 23-year-old kid from Tisdale with a pocket full of money. Okay, that's how much. Honey.
I think Jeff's talking about the tickets we have to give away for the March 1st show of Live. Yeah, that band, Live, Throwing Copper. Great album. They're coming with Big Wreck and special guest Econoline Crush, SaskTel Center, March 1st. We're giving them away 936-6262. You got to let us know your favorite Live song from way back, because Jeff's talking about there's a reason he's saving his lockup jeans in Mondetta. I never had lockup jeans. Buffaloes? Yes. A nice bugle boy? Yes. Lockup? No. Mondetta. I thought Mondetta was more on the female side, wasn't it?
Remember Pepe jeans?
Pepe. You had to have bank. You're rolling in Pepe's and a Doc Martin.
No.
You had some. You were East Side.
Remember them. I'm saying I
had the knockoffs. What were they?
That were
Pepe with a Y. Mine were.
That clothing budget at the Masrick House growing up was available.
Yeah.
We have their investments tied up in other things.
I think I bought a pair of jeans from the Met in North Battleford once. That's how I rolled. Let's get into the Coaches Show. Special guest today. Here we go.
It's time for the SportsCage Riders Coaches Show for the Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation. Get your 50-50 tickets now for all Rider home and away games. Riders5050.ca and Steelcraft Doors Regina, made in Western Canada for Western Canadians.
Special guest appearance on the Coaches Show. That is a sweet tarp, my man. That is some nice thread work right there. Luc Mullinder, color commentator on our Rider broadcast, joining us. All right, Luc. Hey, you texted me mid-game. Montreal gets paid too, but you and I both hammered the Riders with the points. We were going there. What the heck happens on Saturday?
No, actually, I didn't end up hammering the Riders.
Well, you lied to me on Friday.
No, I didn't lie to you on Friday. That's how I felt on Friday. When I woke up on Saturday, I changed my tune. Here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing.
Why didn't you shoot me a text?
I'm sorry. Because you know what? I'm going to be honest with you, man. until I actually say it out loud, until I actually hear the spread out loud on the pregame, I like haven't made up my mind. I made up my mind like literally, and here's when I made up my mind. First of all, guys, I talked to you guys before the game, and I said, hey, they get paid too. I changed my mind as soon as the Toronto Argonauts won, because I had known that Hamilton had already won the night before, and when Toronto won, I put myself in, and I remember warming up. I think it was in Calgary, and watching a game that had everything to do with our positioning potentially. And I remember how, warming up, you were kind of doing this half-ass warm-up because you're watching the giant big screen. And as soon as the team that we needed to win lost, it made the game in Calgary that much more important. And I was just thinking about that, and I was like, look, man, the Montreal Alouettes, I mean, they've probably heard all week about how Saskatchewan dominated them at home. McLeod Bethel-Thompson's coming off his first game in 3 games, and he was embarrassed the last time he saw the Riders. And now the Montreal Alouettes have just watched the team above them win a game to separate, and the team that's chasing them win a game to get closer. That makes it a huge game in Montreal. So that's when I kind of changed my mind. And you got to remember, the points were at 7.5. I still thought Saskatchewan could pull it out. I just thought it was going to be close. But this is the coach's show, and I'd like to say I'm not acting like a coach right now, but I will give the coaches credit. The Montreal coaches, they game planned the hell out of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, specifically the way they pass pro'd from McLeod Bethel-Thompson. And everybody's talking about, Kafale Exume and the tough game that he had. And I get it because, optically when you're watching TV, it looks like one guy's getting beaten. But protection-wise, they allowed McLeod Bethel-Thompson to work. And that's something that we did not see in Montreal. Saskatchewan was constantly hitting McLeod Bethel-Thompson. They were constantly pressuring him. This game, yes, on Saturday, we saw none of that. So you got to tip your hat to the Montreal Alouettes coaching staff. I thought they brought in a great offensive game plan.
What does your eyeballs see though? Why the protect? Did they shift protection against our defensive line? What did you see there, Luke?
Well, they kept a lot more guys in, right? Mm-hmm. They kept a lot more guys in. I really liked the way they slid. They also used. There was one. I think it was the long one that essentially was the dagger in the Riders in the fourth. That it was Philpott caught. Where he inched inside Exume at the last minute and made the catch. Well, that play I really liked because what they did is they pulled the guard out, made it look like a run, but then all the guard did was add some more surface to the right side where McLeod Bethel-Thompson wanted to go. So again, I give him a lot of credit. And the other part is I was saying this in the pregame, that Mustafa Johnson kid, the fact that they got him back, that was big too, and he played a good game as well. So. Again, you have to give the credit where credit is due. And for the Riders, they got a week to think about the run they got to make when they get back.
Luke, it looked like an incredibly physical football game that Montreal was punishing Ouellette every chance they get. Darnell Sankey was everywhere. Like you mentioned, Mustafa Johnson. Did they just out-physical the Riders on both sides of the ball?
They were definitely the more physical team. I think that they were the more motivated team as well, and a lot went into that. But again, one of our keys to the game in the pregame, I mentioned was disrupting their script, not letting the Montreal Alouettes gain momentum, not letting them start to get in rhythm. And unfortunately for us, Montreal got into rhythm on defense and on offense, right? And from that point on, it was hard to stop because. Again, it didn't allow us to get into rhythm, right? So, again, I think that the physical battle, it was definitely won on the Montreal Alouettes side. And I'll tell you what, man, that kid that replaced Thies when Thies went down, the backup from Indiana, I thought he was great. That guy looked like a seasoned vet, man. I love the way he saw the field. I think that he was very patient with what developed in front of him. He knew what he needed to wait on. And you never know with your essentially third string running back what you're going to get, right? But I said in the game, you know what? Like he's an Indiana Hoosier. That means he played in the Big Ten. That means he's played in that weather, because that weather was Big Ten weather on Saturday.
Is that Stevie Scott you're talking about?
Yeah, I thought he was great.
Yeah. Coming out party for Stevie. We had people text in here, Luke, too, as well. Did you expect the Riders to do anything more as far as halftime adjustments, or did they try and Montreal just game planned around those as well?
Sometimes, guys, the halftime adjustment is just get your together, right? Here's what happens. You get in there, okay? You get in there, the offense talks to the offense, the defense talks to the defense, and then the coach brings them in, and right? But sometimes you just got to say, hey, guys, we need to get going here, right? And I don't think schematically anything needed to change. We just needed to start getting a couple more blocks, and yeah, it just never came about, right? And I think that Montreal, again, you got to give them credit. They really, you can feel when a team is one play away from stealing the momentum back. Montreal never let them do that. They were, especially in the fourth quarter, when the game was still very much in hand, right? This game was very much in hand in the fourth quarter. And I remember Saskatchewan scored, and right away you're like, oh, all you got to do is stop them here. And Montreal came out and they strung drives together, and it was impressive. And again, they stayed out of their cancer down, right? The whole game they were able to stay out of second and long, right? They were in it a couple times, but they weren't in it all. It wasn't 2nd and 10 every single possession for them. It was 2nd and 5, which is really manageable down, especially in the CFL. You got to get 4 yards because essentially you're going to throw your third down team in there for the last yard, right? So again, I felt like they did a great job just continuing to have their entire playbook in front of them all the way through. And then when the Riders did get a little momentum, they stifled it. That was the good part of them. So you got to give them credit.
Since you're retired, Luke, and you can be 100% honest, not that you weren't honest when you were playing the game, but after the game, bye week's coming up, week off, we're 10-2, we lose 10-3. Most of us in normal jobs on a Friday like to coast for a couple hours if we know the weekend's coming, let alone a week's worth of holidays. Think that plays into it a little as well with bye week on the brain?
No, because they've been in this situation twice before, right? They've had 2 bye weeks. This is their 3rd bye week coming up. And again, they knew they've had bigger, actually, as a matter of fact, they've had bigger bye week situations, right? That game in Montreal, where they had the bye week from Montreal, a lot of guys were staying in Montreal because it's easier to travel from the Montreal airport, right? There's a lot more to think about that bye week game than there was this bye week game, right? Some guys, it's me, I'm starting to count my checks now, right? I realize, okay, it's week 14 now. That means I have 4 more game checks guaranteed plus playoff game. And then I start looking at the flights, and I'm like, yeah, maybe, maybe this bye week I'm just going to stay in Regina, right? Maybe we go on a fishing trip.
Yeah, tourism Regina, man. Let's go to Wascana. Let's take the family around there. Let's keep this thing on a budget.
I go to Colin O'Brien's and buy myself some new gear.
Man, listen, I think that the best teams that I've ever played on, especially when we were at the height of whatever we were at in Saskatchewan, from 2007 on through 2010, we made sure that we went on a fishing trip or we did stuff together, and we took advantage of that other bye week. I don't think we didn't get too many seasons where we had 3 bye weeks, though.
You talk, I really like your point, and I really wish you would have texted me Saturday morning about where the Montreal Alouettes were and they needed that game, and there was maybe a little bit more desperation. Was there also maybe, because we talk about how the Riders went in there, beat them up pretty good, was it also maybe a little bit Jason Moss and the coaching staff, the embarrassment tour coming back and being like, what happened in Montreal ain't happening again, and they just maybe dialed it in even more, if that's possible?
Well, their embarrassment tour, it had been going on for a month. This is a team that hadn't won in a month, right? It wasn't the embarrassment tour, it was someone's getting fired tour, right? So they came in, and again, nothing motivates you more than your own schedule and your own standings, and you saw Hamilton and Toronto win, but more importantly too, people have their pride, right? Noel Thorpe's defense, for instance, I mean, it was a defense that was getting beat up. They were on the field a lot. The offense, they were miserable when it came to second down success. And obviously that means that they weren't that good in first down either, right? Like, so eventually, if you're going to be the team that wants to compete for a Grey Cup, you have to have that sort of come to Jesus moment. And I think that they had that prior to the game in Saskatchewan. Like, guys, where are we going to go from here, right? It needs to be upwards because it's professional football at the end of the day. And, eventually jobs get thrown on the line. But now look at the division, right? They could have been 5-8, tied with the Argos, and then had the Ottawa breathing down their necks, right? Or they could be 6-7 and with Hamilton directly in their sights, as well as Toronto below them, right? So I think a lot of that went into that. But again, you got beat up and you got embarrassed at your own home, and now you have McLeod Bethel-Thompson coming back for the first time in 3 games. If there was ever a game to get up for it was that one for the Montreal Alouettes.
The Rider roster on Saturday had 10 defensive linemen, and obviously because of the last-minute scratches and the injuries to Sales, to Campbell, and then with what they fielded in the backfield, since this is the coach's show, Coach Luc, do you maybe make it 9 D linemen? You're obviously trying to keep everybody fresh. You got to throw maybe an extra DB in there or one of those tweener backer DBs because in-game adjustments, Malik Carney's not going to play halfback. All right. If, guys are going down, is Jaden Dahlke playing corner? Well, I don't know, but how do you construct that roster? Because the Riders normally start more Canadians than they have to, and they were rolling with 10 defensive linemen for the game on Saturday.
Aaron Patrick, number 91.
Okay.
Played great on special teams last week. He doesn't get a lot of rotation. If I'm a coach, I always have to remember, especially in Saskatchewan, special teams, especially in the covered units, are never going to be our weakness. I want strong special teams play. So if I can get that out of guys like Aaron Patrick, Stevens, who I threw on the roster, I got Jaden Dahlke in there. Nick Weeb has been fantastic on special teams. Again, I want guys that can play on specials. And right now, I think that the Riders should be prioritizing the third, because again, common knowledge, right? You got to win 2 out of the 3 phases of a football game: offense, defense, special teams, right? The Riders, for what it's worth, they haven't lost the special teams battle all year, right? And so I think that, yes, you have, it's not necessarily to keep that rotation fresh. Who are our best guys on specials? And you saw number 91 last week. He's been playing great. He's always played well on special teams, right? So again, you can't forget, I get that we didn't want to see Tyson Philpott look like Randy Moss. Totally get that. Okay. However, again, give credit where credit is due. Montreal figured out a way to stop the blitz. Montreal figured out a way to protect McLeod Bethel-Thompson to get those deep balls in the air. You know what I mean? They would have been 50-50 balls, and would Marcus Sales or Tavon Campbell have covered it differently? Who knows, right? The bottom line is McLeod Bethel-Thompson was allowed to throw the football this time. He was not allowed to throw the football the first time we saw the Montreal Alouettes in Montreal. So again, I think that when it comes to the secondary, I get it, but I want special teams consistency. I don't want, if I'm Corey Mace, I do not want special teams to be the thing that we're worried about in the team meeting, after the game, right? Because remember, guys, these guys are bougie, right? And we were bougie too. So you only had 4.5 hours with the team during the practice week, right? On every day. You had 4.5 hours of practice. The one thing you don't want to spend time on is special teams and trick plays. You know what I mean? If we've got to dedicate an extra 10 minutes of practice to figuring out the correction on kickoff return or kickoff cover, man, that's taken away from some of the things that we need to correct in the game, right? We need to correct the Max Pro approach that Montreal took, because I guarantee you teams are going to do that, right? Teams are going to start to figure out in the playoffs. We might see a lot more slide protection now, right? Where your defensive linemen are just basically, where you're taking your offensive lineman, your quarterback, and you're shifting the launch point to over here, right? Essentially. So we might see all of that. So I want to be able to talk about that and spend time on that. I don't want to have to spend time in practice doing another kickoff and punt return drill. You know what I mean? So you got to prioritize it. And I think that that's where the Riders are coming from when it comes to those 9 D linemen. I think that they know that special teams has always been, especially in the cover unit, something that they've stood out at, and that needs to stay that way.
We don't want to be overly critical, but it was pretty glaring. And I know you mentioned the time that McLeod Bethel-Thompson had to throw the ball, but there's a couple plays there where Kerfala-Exume looks exposed. Do you think they overbought the stock on him there a bit, Luke? And then second part to that is they bring in this Sheldrick red wine the next day after maybe a run around in Atlanta at spring camp. Is that totally a reaction move, being like, we need some help here in case Sales and Campbell go down again?
Well, they've got to get healthy, right? And when you have both starting defensive backs out, you need to start thinking about where you're going to get your depth from, right? So you move Kerfala up and you move guys around, but you're still going to have to fill the other spots, right? So I don't think it's an indictment that Kerfala-Exume we're going to see has been released, right? Like there's obviously more film on him than just that game, although that game looked bad, but yeah, I mean, for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, they've got a bunch of guys down in the secondary, right? You don't forget Jackson Ford's down too, right? They need guys to fill spots right now, right? And they need to figure out where they're getting where they're playing with their ratio too, right? Like, hey, here's the other thing, right? If you bring in another American DB, if you think about the ratio, what does that mean for Canadian receivers? Oh, wait a second. We've got Emelis potentially coming back. We've got KSB all of a sudden potentially coming back, right? We've had Bain just sitting out and chilling. Like, what does this look like from a receiver standpoint, knowing that the guys that are coming back are Canadians, right? What if we need to insert more Canadian presence into the lineup on offense? We're going to get to pull somewhere on defense. So can we change this? If Tavon's not coming back, for instance, can we change that position fully to an American position for the next little bit, right? Like, I think that we always have to think macro, right, when it comes to new signees. I don't think that they said, oh man, yeah, we waited till week 15 to unveil the CFL's next Deion Sanders. We got them all. You know what I mean? You need depth. Get the depth.
And he was working at Best Buy, and he just finished the shift and came to the Trout.
Yeah.
Luke, the one thing that bothers me.
Seen the way this kid was hucking boxes at Walmart. He had all-star DB in week 15 written all over him, guys. Sign him up. You should have seen it. It was incredible. You should have seen the way this guy took our order at Outback Steakhouse. Man, he did not screw
what's with all
up.
the free plugs? What's with all the free? At least use some local. Use Giant Tiger in the Diplomat or something.
Well, he's American. We signed him. He's an American guy. They don't have Giant Tiger in the States.
Do you want to have a fist fight over how good a bloomin' onion is? I don't fight. I'm in a fight all day long. I will fight you, and that sauce is incredible. Revis's injury.
How fat are the United States of America? Bloomin' onion, like.
Hey,
oh, buddy, I was at 7-Eleven today. We're not Sweden either.
Luke, exactly.
You're right.
Listen,
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Touché.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Can we end on the Cowboys?
Okay, Revis is it?
Okay.
Well, no, just wait. I want to ask him about Revis's injury, because to me, forget Exume, all that. They'll get that figured out. Revis being out, if it's just for the game or any length of time, like there's a reason why Agent Zero and all of that all works. He's a part of that. Maybe he doesn't get the play that he should, but without him, that's a big loss in that Rider backfield.
2 words: Antoine Brooks. 3, if you want me to add the junior part. I think that Antoine Brooks now fits into this. If Revis is gone for any long term, Antoine Brooks has made plays on the roster anytime he's been there. He can play strong side. He can also play in the secondary. You've got Jaden Dalkey, who's also used to playing linebackers. I think that right now they've still got guys. They just got to finish out the ratio. And remember, guys, you don't know who's coming back at that receiver spot. If Emelis and KSB are both ready to go after the bye week, what an amazing problem to have for Jeremy O'Day. That is exactly the type of problem you want. You want to have to figure out who's coming off versus, man, who do we plug in?
Your Cowboys almost lost.
What do you mean, almost lost? You mean to tell me you didn't see that 60-whatever-yard field goal? And we just listen. That's what the NFL gets for putting the Dallas Cowboys on a noontime game. Okay, we are a primetime team. So you know what we did? We just figured, hey, we may as well extend the drama, get us back on prime time the next time around.
That Brandon Aubrey, that kicker, what a great story. He's a professional soccer player. His wife said you could kick field goals. He went and trained, went and played in the whatever league that is in the States, and then now he's been kicking field. I had no idea on the story of that guy.
Listen, again, let's not act like that's right. Like there's plenty of wives probably telling their husbands that they should ditch their Staples job and go kick at the NFL level. You know what I mean? Like
Staples, Canadian.
It doesn't. For every Brandon Aubrey,
Staples is American. Staples is American, Barney.
What I'm saying, is for every Brandon Aubrey, there's 150,000 other guys that tried to go that route and didn't make it, right? So he's a great story for sure, and I'm glad he's kicking for us. Well, let's not just, let's not act like there's a bunch of NFL kickers just hanging out in college dorms.
And Luke, I'm with you. I was all about watching. I was flipping around there because, watching different games and watching Russ cook. Compared to the snooze fest that Philly, Kansas City is, please, the tush push and the check down passes, you're killing me. That was terrible football. Cowboys, keep in mind, if they would have played they scored 41 points in the fourth quarter to get the game to overtime. That was crazy. How about them Cowboys?
In the NFL, that's amazing.
And Barney, to a point that you made, that Netflix series, Jerry Jones has been crazy his whole life. So what Jerry Jones is doing now is not anything different he was doing back in 1960 when he was in Mississippi.
Well,
selling
we're 1-1. We're 1-1, and the teams we played have run up. Like we do need defense at some point, guys. Right? We can't rely on Dak Prescott to right. And look, let's. I get it. Russ cooked for what, like 4 quarters maybe, but still ended up throwing the game-deciding interception. Like. He's cooking, but he's using an old stove.
Maz is all in on the Colts.
Wow.
I would love to see.
Why wouldn't you be?
Well, no.
Why wouldn't you be?
Okay.
They haven't even punted yet.
Exactly. Wouldn't it be great? Daniel Jones wins the Super Bowl, is the MVP, and he just said, listen, it was never me. It was always them.
First of all.
I've always been good.
They're not going to the Super Bowl, okay? The Colts are not going to the Super Bowl. Peyton Manning is not walking through that door. Dwight Freeney is not walking through that door. Folks, Bob Sanders, is not walking through that door. Indianapolis is a good story right now, but they're not winning the Super Bowl.
More likely to go to the Super Bowl. If you're playing with my money. The Colts at 2-0 or the Chiefs at 0-2?
The Chiefs at 0-2. They're still the Chiefs. Guys, Andy Reid is still one of the greatest coaches that's ever lived. They're still the Kansas City Chiefs. Every team, at some point, teams have expiry dates, and you got to get new rosters in there, right? They'll figure something out. If I have a lot more faith in Andy Reid bringing the Chiefs back than Daniel Jones and the crazy owners who, by the way, are on the sidelines wearing earpieces, taking notes like they're scouting the team.
She's great.
How awkward is that be?
Okay, so before this gets any further, because it's going to end badly, if you're the owner of the Miami Dolphins, do you just fire Mike McDaniel now and not let this thing get any further down the road? Because it's happening, whether it's next week, the week after. Because did you see that press conference yesterday after the game? He's beaten already.
What is he on?
Word salad answers. Exactly. What is he on? Is he a Canadian politician with that word salad answer about, to win the game, you got to win the game?
You guys ever seen one of those those old bears or tigers or lions that have been working in the circus their entire life? The first time they're let out into the wilderness, into like a safari area where they're have you ever seen you've seen those those videos on YouTube where there's been cows that have been in stalls their whole lives just doing milk, being milked their whole lives, haven't seen a light of day, haven't seen a blade, and then they get released into the grass. They put them in a sanctuary and they're jumping and they're Mike McDaniels went to Miami and he was the cow that was in the milk thing his whole life. He's seen things in Miami that he didn't know existed, right? He went to Miami and absolutely lost his mind. That dude went to Miami wearing a suit and tie, looking like a math substitute teacher, okay? And then the following year, he had an open His first press conference, he had his hair slicked back. He had a gold chain and an open shirt, like the one I'm wearing, but like this, like all his chest. Like Miami changed him. So if I'm the owner, I'm blaming myself. I brought a circus bear who had been in the circus, been trained in the circus his whole life, and I put him in a sanctuary. It was a stupid move. I shouldn't have done it.
Those sunglasses and all. Yeah, his looks weird.
The sunglasses. Like, this is a guy that was using like co-op sunglasses, the 5'9", and now all of a sudden he's showing up on his press conferences, with the latest Versace gear. Like, that's crazy to me. He lost the plot somewhere in there, man. He had a great. He was at one point. He was like the next guy up. That dude went to South Beach and saw things on the beach that he's never seen. He didn't even know existed. He thought he thought you only saw this stuff on the internet. That's what he thought. He went to Miami, South Beach, and lost his mind.
We'll end it at that. You can do up your shirt if you're watching the stream. Luke is getting naked on us here. Color commentary.
That's the Mike McDaniel, boys.
Okay, buddy. Have a good off week. Have a good bye week.
Let's go get a bloomin' onion. Let's go get a bloomin' onion at Outback Steakhouse.
No, you know what, guys? Now that summer's winding down, I got to start being responsible again. I got to eat like a normal adult. I can't wake up and have 4 beers and stuff. I need to start getting back to real life now that summer.
So we should have went for that pizza at Western Pizza before this diet kicks in. We're still doing that.
I'm a man on my word, Barney. Yeah,
okay.
I know that.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a good bye week, Luke. Thanks for doing this, bud.
All right, boys. Have a good show.
Luc Mullinder. That was awesome. And we took a lot of time. We got to go to break here. Colson's freaking out. It's a Sports Cage. We are streaming. If you missed Luke unbuttoning his shirt, you missed it through the stream. SportsCage.com and our YouTube channel. If not, you heard it on 620 CKRM. All right, my first clutch performer. I don't know if you're watching the stream. I think Colson might play this. Her name, Cameron Rogers of Canada. She became just the 4th woman ever to break the 80-meter barrier, smashing her own Canadian record of 78.88 in the hammer throw. Her throw, if you're watching it, there it is, 80.51, the 7th farthest in history. I think hammer throw is one of those sports where we don't watch it much. We see it at the Olympics and all that. Amazing how they do it. I'd love to try it once. There it is right there. So Cameron Rogers is my first one. And then do we go to unclutch, both of us now?
I got 2 clutch performers.
Okay, you go ahead.
So if we can stick with clutch for just a second.
Go ahead.
So
sure.
First one is it's terrible writing. Jeremiah, I believe, Jarrett of University, South Carolina. He's a defensive lineman, 6'5", 360. 70-yard pick 6.
Look how big that guy is.
Rumbling all the way back for the touchdown. USC beat Purdue in that game pretty good. This is in the 3rd. But yeah.
A big human being.
I'm always for defensive linemen and offensive linemen getting their time. So
right on. Who's your second one?
Do you guys see Nick Sirianni with his challenge flag throw?
Mm-mm.
So here's the quick viz of it. Whips the thing, and it ends up going right to the goal line. He threw it from the 35-yard line. And there's official analytics on it. He threw it 36 yards in the air, 31 miles an hour, and it reached the end zone in just under 2 seconds.
Wow.
Because he wanted to challenge the play before it got off.
And Tyson Philpott caught it. Maz, you got one?
Yeah, my clutch performer is anybody that stuck it out at the Rider game on Saturday in the rain. Because you know what? It wasn't, when your team's 10-2, you're like, well, if we got to miss one, this would be it. But for the Hardy fans to stuck it out. And then I'm going to go to unclutch.
Can I just piggyback on that? The real
Sure.
staff that I knew were in tough, they were out there 10 a.m. dropping kids off at the hockey rink with their umbrellas and that pouring rain, the parking staff people that had to work all day doing that. Good on you.
Yeah.
And the unclutch, everybody has social media and word travels. And it didn't take long in Regina on Saturday when it was raining to see that there are parts of the city that are underwater. Underpasses, not good. A lot of lakes, a lot of stuff, drains clogged, not all that. If you are an unsure driver and you're like, oh, I don't know, maybe the moment you hesitate, put the keys down, stay home. order your app food or whatever. Don't go out on the roads and make it worse. And all of a sudden you get freaked out. Then all of a sudden you're going to try and pull over wherever you think is good in the side of the road or wherever. And you're going to make it bad for the rest of us. Okay? Because we have no idea what you're doing. You throw your flashers on. Okay. Yeah. And what are we all supposed to do?
That underpass, the truck, like, talk about being a mouth breather. What do you do? And then the fire department has to come and rescue these guys.
They brought the boat to one of them. They didn't put the boat in, but they brought the boat to one of them.
You should get fined for that. That's a you problem.
If you drive a Nissan Micra, you probably there's 6 feet of water ahead of you. Just going, okay, with the size of my car, the amount of water. It's one thing if you're lifting a truck that's on like 32-inch rims and it's lifted. You got that kit, or if you're a Jeep owner, and Jeep owners are a unique brand of people, you'll always see those guys with the scuba exhaust that comes out the top, right? Because they're waterproof. Perfect for Saturday weather, because you will make it through there, not a problem. There's no way your engine's stalling out.
It's nothing. Is that Nissan vehicle anything like a Toyota MR2? That's what I had back in high school when Live throwing copper was big. We're giving away tickets to Live, Big Wreck, and Econoline Crush. Okay, here's our last unclutched performer today, Mike McDaniel's post game. If you didn't hear this and you're driving around right now or whatever, listen to this guy. This is a professional football coach in the NFL with Miami. Listen to his post game.
To win games, you have to win the game, not lose the game, honestly. And that is how you lose the game. You're moving the ball down the field. You're 1st and 10, and then you find yourself at 2nd and 20. That was critical.
What is that guy on?
He looks okay, and it's funny because I think he's been sober for a couple of years now. He looks like a shadow of himself from like a press conference a year and a half ago when he first got there. Like, he looks beaten. That's why I'm like, if you're going to do this, just do this, because that guy looks not okay.
Healthy.
Like, that's what I mean. He doesn't look healthy at all. Like, at all.
Our clutch performers and non-clutch performers for Nick Service in Emerald Park, your local Massey Ferguson, Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fent dealer. It is a Sports Cage. We're on the home of the Riders, 620 CKRM. Age Power Rankings, done by a bunch of people not including me. Riders still first, even after the loss to Montreal. Second team, Calgary Stampeders. You can find them at sportscage.com. Blue Jays 4 up on the Yankees in the AL East. Start a series at Tampa Bay in moments here at Little NFL. There's 2 games tonight. Tampa at Houston. Chargers in Las Vegas. Tough news for Cincinnati Bengal fans. Your quarterback, Joe Burrow, is out with turf toe. He's going to miss at least 3 months. Potential return mid-December. WHL mourning the tragic passing of former Calgary Hitman player Orca Weisblatt. He'll be remembered by his brothers, Ozzy, Oasis, and Ocean, along with his family. He was only 25 years old. SportsCage.com poll today. How concerned are you following the Saskatchewan Roughriders 48-31 loss to Montreal? There's 3 different choices. You can find them at SportsCage.com. In hour 2, the Sports Ticker is for Extreme Hockey and Sport, where they have the price match guarantee. You find a better price anywhere, they will match it. They are your local sporting goods store, Extreme Hockey and Sport in Regina. Maz, back to you. 2 NFL games tonight. And tomorrow, I can't wait to talk to Arash, because Minnesota, McCarthy, and then yesterday, not so good. Now he's got a sprained ankle too. But Tampa Bay, Houston. Houston's a 2.5-point favorite there. I don't know enough about either of those teams.
I just like Baker Mayfield. I like Baker. I just love him as a player. He's had to fight and scrap wherever he goes. God, he'd be a great rider. Not that he's coming to the CFL anytime soon, but that's a guy we would all love. Could you imagine if you, like, how many Mayfield jerseys there would be if he was your guy? Baker.
Yeah,
I like Tampa.
He seems like a dude. And then Chargers in Vegas.
He just seems like a good guy.
Chargers in Las Vegas. How'd Monday night in Las Vegas sound about right now? Chargers minus 3.5. Pete Carroll, how old is he? 74 today? Yeah. Birthday game for Pete. Gum chewing Pete.
If you've never been there's Raiders fans everywhere, but a Raiders fan at the mall in Regina is one thing. A Raiders fan near a football game like in Vegas is a totally other. And I still remember last summer when my wife and I went to Vegas to see the Killers. That same night at Allegiant Stadium, the Niners and the Raiders were playing their preseason game. And not only were there fights that you saw all over social media, we were staying at Resorts World. There were two chicks fighting in the lobby at Resorts World after the game. We got back from the show. One Raider fan, one Niner. I'm like, you guys are nuts. So for as many, there's been times where I've been embarrassed to be a Rider fan for some things that have happened in public. Raider fans take the cake. You're degenerates, all of you. And I can only imagine.
I went to a game in Oakland, a season opener against Cincinnati. And Cincinnati, like, what? They're not offensive. They're whatever. Oh, and these poor Cincinnati fans got their lunch handed to them in the stands. And so I asked one of the guys sitting by, I had a Raiders jersey on. I ain't that dumb. And they were playing somebody to Cincinnati. Like, I'm not wearing a Cincinnati jersey. And I said, what is the most hated team that comes into the Oakland Coliseum? And I wasn't telling him I was a Patriots fan. And he goes, the Donkeys. And I'm like, who? He goes, the Broncos. Oh, when they come here, it's nasty. And I was like, interesting. Then, true story, there's a guy in the section beside us that kept staring. He was staring at everybody. He just stood up. He was in overalls, and he had a Michael Myers mask. And he was probably 6'5". I'm like, I got a picture of him. I'm like, what is going on here? This is, I'm glad I did it before they closed it and they moved and all that to experience something at that place.
But to my point, Raiders fans are nuts. Like, it goes far. There's no common sense. Like, none. You're not fighting out there. You're not in uniform.
We got a bunch of text messages to get to here. Prairieland Rentals text line 936-6262. You get to deal with the owner at 600 Albert Street. Guess what the front runner is for people, their favorite live song. Live the band, early 90s. You know it. You love it. They're coming to SaskTel Center with special guest Econoline Crush and Big Wreck March 1st. We're giving away 2 tickets today. Guess what the favorite song so far? All the people that have texted in. I would say the front runner by about 70%. Lightning crashes. Yeah, Lightning Crashes.
Exactly,
and
it's their biggest song.
I Alone is... Yeah. I like to go off the charts on that. So thanks to everyone who's sending that in. Also, going back to the Rider game, Mike says, I'm not worried that we're 10-3. The Riders aren't going to lose another game. I could see maybe a loss to Winnipeg, but the others should win, and the team will take care of Calgary in the West Final. Okay, Mike's still positive. James says Maz is describing a mail-it-in Saturday, perhaps, and I'm just going home for a bit. James, all right. Kyle in... Oh, how do you say this town's name again? I hate when I can't pronounce Saskatchewan town names.
Bean Fate?
Coder?
Bean Fate?
It's Coder, I think.
Coder?
Rider game sucked. We all know, let's move on and do better against BC this week. We will move on eventually, but we got 3 hours to kill. And people are texting in like crazy, so we're still going to talk about it.
If we're being honest with the live tickets, can you send me the show times? Because if live's on at 9 o'clock, I'm getting there at 8:55. I don't need to see those other 2 bands. You are not live. You are filler at best. That's the polite way. So give me Ed Kowalczyk in live. If you're on at 9, 8:55, I'm in my seat. I'm ready to go.
Jeff on the
Big
YouTube
Wreck,
channel.
Econoline Crush, no thanks.
He wants to stir this. I don't want to bring up the one comment that he says in here. He says if I tried hammer throw, people would get hurt. I think if a lot of us tried hammer throw Jeff, that was one of our clutch performers, I think a lot of people would get hurt. I mean, you'd know where to start. Like, you kind of get what you need to do. When do you let go? Who's around? Nah. I'm really good at it. I got the old school track and field in my basement, and that's the last thing that you got to try and qualify to move on. No, it's high jump. High jump sucks too. It's really hard. You're telling us we got a break?
Yep.
All right. Colson saying we got a break. We got Darian Durant starting hour 3. If you got any questions for doubles on the loss Saturday, let us know. It's a SportsCage streaming at sportscage.com. One more hour of the show. If you're driving home, maybe you're out there harvesting. That tornado watch down south has been canceled, so that's good news. Maz is with me today for Kellen Solar. Anything you need solar, whether it's the livestock operation, the home, or the farm, Kellen Solar, local company in Lumsden, Saskatchewan, can travel all over the province and get you hooked up. We are giving away tickets, Maz, to the show just announced today, March 1st, SaskTel Center in Saskatoon, live. Yes, the band Live, throwing copper, mid-90s. If you probably rocked out to it, if you're in that demographic. They're coming with Big Wreck and Econoline Crush, 936-6262. You got to let us know what's your favorite live song. We're giving away 2 tomorrow as well. Text line is... we got a couple of questions here for doubles when we get to him. And then the YouTube chat, they're at it again. Jeffrey, I like Jeffrey. Jeffrey's like a Brad Marchand. He's a Matthew Kachuk. He stirs the pot, gets people fighting on there and jabbing at each other.
Just doing his thing.
Yeah, he's a Stamps fan.
The song Lightning Crashers, the reason why that song still today, like 30 some years later, is so badass, that guitar is haunting. Just that riff. Dun, dun, and then when it gets going, man, how do you not like Oasis? That's what I don't get. If you like Live, how do you not like Oasis?
Let's not talk about them. They're not coming here. Hey, you know what a sneaky banger was on Throwing Copper? Track number 7, All Over You. That hits hard.
That's a banger.
Hits hard. Windows down in the MR2, 6x9s just pumping. Boom, boom. Yeah. It was what a time to be alive back in the mid 90s. Let's get going with Darian.
It's time for Double Talk with Saskatchewan Roughrider legend Darian Durant. Double Talk is brought to you by Campbell Safety Consulting. At Campbell Safety Consulting, we work towards helping companies create a competitive edge by executing a proactive health and safety program.
That's right, Campbell Safety Consulting. There he is, former Rough Rider quarterback, legend, Plaza of Honor member, Darian Durant.
Dallas Cowboy fan. Happy Dallas Cowboy fan after yesterday's overtime.
Absolutely.
Win.
All right,
yes,
Darian, let's go at it here, though. We can talk about the Cowboys later. Tyson Philpott, 238 yards. McLeod Bethel Thompson, 370 yards. Throwing it around Mosaic Stadium like it was a flag football game on Saturday. Where do you see the problems in that third loss of the season for the Riders?
I mean, it was just obvious that not having Tavon Campbell and Marcus Sales out there, who are, 2 of the best corners in the league, not having them was just crucial. And, I'm hearing that one was a game time decision, but at the end of the day, just not having those guys and going against a veteran receiver, Philpott and Bethel Thompson back at quarterback, they knew to take advantage of that position. So I wouldn't say they threw the ball all over the Rough Riders. I would say they just threw the ball at one guy all night.
Okay, so I want to ask you this. You go into that game and maybe those 2 guys aren't going to go. Riders have Kerfala Exume out there who spent some time with Montreal. They might know him. They might know his footwork. They might know where he's susceptible. Are you guys your game planning to go after that?
Absolutely. Every single chance you get an opportunity to go at him, you do it. That has to be the star on the game plan sheet. And especially with him coming from Montreal, he's a guy that they practice against every single day. They know his strengths and weaknesses. And, every single play for the most part was a double move. And they had the blueprint on him on his aggressiveness. And he bid on it every time. And we also didn't see the best ball skills in the world when the ball was in the air either. So, whatever he did in Montreal, Anthony Calvillo and this team, they had a beat on it, and they took advantage of it all night long.
Darian, we know how the score finished up. And injuries aside, because Montreal has to play desperation football, it's playoff mode for them now. I still think they win that football game because I don't think they would have changed their approach. They were going to have to sling it. How would you?
they would have had to throw the ball around, but it's a lot different going up against the interception leader in the league and another guy in Sales who is an all-star. When you're going against young guys or guys who don't really understand the game, it's totally different than when you're going against vets, and not just any vets. Like I said, guys who are at the top of the league at their position. So even though Montreal, it was destined for them, I just don't know if the game plays out the same way if you have your two starting corners in the game.
Do you see anything on that offensive line? We talked to Luke. He said they just brought more people in to stifle the Roughriders defensive line because we can get pressure on almost everybody.
You know what? I don't know. It's so tough at this point of the season when you're bringing in other guys. You don't know if they're ready to play. You don't know what kind of shape they're in, and you don't know if they're good enough to hold up for 4 quarters. And when you're dealing with a guy playing like Trevor, it's just hard to say. So at this point in time, I don't know if you want to give guys an opportunity to play when they're coming in off the street. These games are so meaningful at this point in the season. So you have to be careful with who you let on the field, and you have to make sure that these guys are ready to go.
It looked like an incredibly physical football game. It looks like the Montreal defense, they were making life tough on AJ Ouellette. There was times he was getting up, and I'm like, that's got to hurt. That's got to sting. Did you think that they were the more physical football team on Saturday?
I do, and I still want to give the Roughriders credit because they did score over 30 points, and Ouellette had a solid game with 90 yards rushing. So I don't think that they just matched up with the Riders and beat them up and down the field. But a staple of Noel Thorpe is just physicality. He preaches it. He thinks that if you can out physical the opposing offense, then by the fourth quarter they'll be weak and they won't want to go as hard. So that's just a philosophy of his, and you can that every time you play Montreal. They're always going to have a physical defense. They don't build their defenses around speed. They build it around power and strength. And this is just another tale of the style of football that Noel Thorpe likes to play.
Do you remember any games where, and I'm sure you had a number of them, where you're really watching the weather? And because it was a downpour in Regina Friday night into Saturday. For the game, for the most part, it kind of broke up. We got lucky there. What would be the mindset for both quarterbacks, offenses? Because you've been in there saying, okay, we might have to do this a little bit more. We might have to do this. Are you changing gear? Obviously, field turf nowadays. It's not like the old days on regular turf. But what goes into that and the mental gymnastics involved in that?
Well, you're always wary of the weather. I mean, in Saskatchewan, more so than rain, it's wind, right? You're hoping that you can get a day where it's not too windy and you can throw the ball for more than 2 quarters. But in rainy situations, you're not going to be able to call as much. It's going to be a game of field position. You're going to have to make sure the game can get going and be able to ball downfield. Like to. So, but with the weather being, breaking up like you stated, both teams, it didn't seem to be an issue for both teams. Both teams had the opportunities to make plays down the field, and that connection of Bethel Thompson and Philpott, they just took over the night.
Is there when you were playing, is there a game or a situation where you had a guy or a young guy or inexperienced guy that you leaned on? I don't care if you name him or not, but you would have been in that same situation too. I know you're paid to win, but at a certain point, if you've just been roasting a guy, do you ever feel bad for lighting a guy up for another one and then another one? Like you're that Simpsons meme, like, enough already. He's dead. He's dead.
Yeah. I think we had a game against Calgary in 2010, and we knew that Chris Jones was a huge man-to-man guy and cover zero guy with no safety help. And, the way they matched up, they would move Dwight Anderson around the field wherever Dressler went. They would put Brandon Smith on Dressler. They would put Dwight on Getzlaff, and they would move Brandon Brown or whoever they had. But it was one matchup against Andy Fantuz, and they tried to cover him with Milt Collins, who was Milt was a great player, but he's a natural safety, right? He's not necessarily a corner. And I'm not sure what the stats were for Andy. I know he went for well over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, sort of like, kind of what happened with Philpott. And, it's just one of those situations. That's why I can relate to this situation so well, because, I remember that Calgary game like it was yesterday and we went into that game saying, look, if they're going to run around and match these guys up, then we're going to throw the ball to Andy every single time we get man-to-man. And that's what we did. And I'm pretty sure that that's what Calvillo was saying to Bethel Thompson when they saw that matchup.
But poor Milt's in a home somewhere in a rocking chair, shaking back and forth. Andy.
Yeah, I feel bad because Milt, he later on became my teammate, and we had a couple conversations about that. But in the heat of the moment, you just want to go for the kill, right? You don't care, and if it's a career day for your guys, then so be it.
Does Philpott, and you mentioned the experienced coaches they have, so probably not. But does it become a flag, a touch game, where does Philpott come back to the huddle or go to the sideline and be like, hey, sluggo all day on this guy?
Absolutely. The first couple plays, you're kind of getting a feel for the DB, seeing his tendency, seeing if he's breaking on the balls early or, whatever it is, what are his weaknesses? And when you're dealing with the coaching staff, I mean, don't forget about Jason Moss. He was a pretty good quarterback himself. And you put those two brains together with Jason and Anthony Calvillo, they're looking at these tendencies for sure. So, it's definitely the experience of the Montreal coaching staff, along with Grey Cup champion in McLeod Bethel Thompson as well, who noticed, a huge weakness in the Rider secondary and took full advantage of it.
I think a lot of us here in Rider Nation got caught looking in the mirror at how gorgeous we are at 10-2. Yeah. And I think a lot of us thought, because we were so dominant in Montreal, with a roster that was really depleted, that this team on Saturday is a lot closer to, no Davis Alexander, to who Montreal is this season. And I think that's the wake-up call to be like, oh, okay, Montreal could be a problem. If we had to face them, like that was a Grey Cup final, like they're a problem. It's not a cakewalk. I think that's what a lot of us were having trouble with, is that we were so dominant in Montreal that, well, there's no way we were going to lose. And especially not the way we did.
Yeah, and I also think that, that start out there in Montreal for Bethel Thompson, it was one of his first, I'm not sure if it was his first or second start underneath this staff, but I think with him getting hurt and being in meetings and seeing how Anthony Calvillo calls the game and getting more of a feel for, situational football, and you get these mental reps and you say to yourself, you know what, if I'm in the game and this play is called, I'm going to read it like this, or I'm going to make this throw against this coverage. So I think weeks of him getting, the mental game behind him, it just made this game so much easier for him. And then, with the Riders' two best corners out of the game, I mean, that just made it even easier for him. But I really think that, McLeod is getting a little bit more comfortable in the system. He understands what to look for with the Anthony Calvillo system and Jason Moss system. And I think that, you said it, this Montreal team, they can make some noise going into the latter part of the season because, the defense is going to be the defense. But if the offense can kind of match the play of that defense, then, I mean, you are talking about a Grey Cup championship team.
And they've done it before. They have the blueprint. It's like, let's just get healthy, get into the playoffs, and then we ride. So definitely dangerous. I don't know, back in your day, Darian, if they have 3 bye weeks now. I don't know if you would have ever had a bye week this late in the season. It sounds like a lot of guys are sticking around. They're going fishing. They're going to some cabins around here, kind of keeping it close. Bye week coming at a good time, obviously, for guys to heal. But, what was your focus in bye week? Did you like to stick around, watch tape, kind of being in the quarterback position?
Yeah, I don't think I ever went home on a bye week. I think that it's very important for quarterbacks especially to kind of, self-evaluate and see where you are, look at the next part of the schedule, see what you need to do moving forward, and, try to have a message for the team. You let the other guys, who don't have the responsibility, as much responsibility. You let them go and have fun and do all these other things. But as a quarterback, you want to make sure you stick around, get this extra meeting time with the coaches, get some extra film work in. It's hard to do these things when you're game planning each and every week. So to be able to just self-reflect and get in that film room and it just be you and the screen, sometimes it does wonders for you.
Looking at some of the other games over the weekend, the one that I paid particularly close attention to. Now, the Argos end up winning 31-30 on a last-second field goal. But the Toronto Argonauts and the Edmonton Eskimos are two of the most improved teams in the CFL. When they can get a little bit of defense, their offenses seem to be coming around. And Phil Daniels, who we had on a couple weeks ago, he said Toronto's problem is because they had so many new guys come in. None of them knew how to play special teams because they were new to the league, and you needed them to play special teams. And then they got to go play defense, and it's a lot to learn. But he said if they kind of get that together, and then Dinwiddie at the end of the game, he was fired up. Elks are playing well, Argos are playing well, and we play Edmonton after the bye. What did you think of that game?
Yeah, I think this Edmonton team, I think I said it last week, they're showing that they're one of the top teams in the league. If with Cody there and with them playing together like they have been. Toronto, I was never looking at as if they were a bad team. Ryan Dinwiddie's a great coach. They're the defending champs. I just think that sometimes when you have so many new guys, it just takes time to build that chemistry. It takes time to get in a position where you're learning how to win and you're learning how to evaluate other teams and watch film and being in the right position each and every play. So for Toronto, I think that, they've reached a point where they have that continuity now. They've been in every single situation. They've won countless walk-off field goal games. They've scored 50 points. They've thrown for 400 or 500 yards. They've won in every single way. So, I think they'll be fine. But for Edmonton, to start the season the way they have and then to switch quarterbacks and to be able to pick up a couple wins, and now you find yourself fighting for a playoff spot, this could be a dangerous team. So, I think the bye week is at a perfect time for the Riders. They could get healthy, get some guys back, and then, go out to Edmonton, because I really think that they're going up against a dangerous team next week.
All right, Maz, you can get into your Dallas Cowboys. As we sit, the Buccaneers and Texans are tied 7-7. And we could have another score here right away. It's should have taken the over in this one. Maz, go ahead.
Listen, they pick up Jadeveon Clowney today. They win in overtime yesterday. It's never boring. You know this, Darian. It's never boring being a Cowboys fan. Yeah. So when they wander down and Dak scores and they go ahead by a touchdown, I'm like, okay, good. But then when Russ comes back with 16 seconds left and throws that touchdown, I'm like, you had to be yelling at the TV, right? You had,
of course.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, but this is kind of what we expected, though, right? We expected an explosive offense and then a defense that would give up a lot of points, but hopefully the offense scored more than the opposing team. And like I said, I think they're taking the Cincinnati Bengals approach where we're just going to outscore you. We know we don't have the best defense in the world. And I must admit, I was kind of, on board about the Micah Parsons trade and thinking that, some draft picks would be a good thing for the Cowboys. But man, watching Micah Parsons play for the Packers, you kind of forgot what type of player he was, honestly. And just the way the Packers rotate that defensive line and they keep him fresh, you just see his motor, man. And maybe the Cowboys situation just wasn't good for him. I'm happy that he's with a good team, but man, looking back at this trade, I'm kind of up in the air about who won that trade, because looking at Micah Parsons, I'm just like, wow, you let that go. So it's a tough situation.
Daniel Jones, obviously MVP of the league, probably maybe a Super Bowl champ this year.
He's balling. I mean, but what does that say about these New York teams? I mean, Sam Darnold was in with the Jets. He leaves, and then he just turns into an awesome quarterback, all pro, gets paid top dollar. And then Daniel Jones leaves the Giants. And for the first 2 games of the season, he's just looking like you said, like he's the league MVP. So maybe it's more about these New York franchises than it is about these players because, maybe just they don't know how to draft. They don't have the right people in place to put the talent in the right places. And you would think that the Giants team had a little bit more talent than Indianapolis, but maybe it's just the situation. He's comfortable. There's no pressure in Indy like it is in New York. You don't have to deal with the media. And maybe some of these things, come into play when it's time to actually play football. So he seems comfortable. He's in a good spot, and he's looking good right now.
Dallas is
if you're I was going to say,
is the underdog
Burrow,
in Chicago this weekend.
Yeah. If you're Joe Burrow, would you go to Bengals management and say, I will pay out of my own money to get me 5 good offensive linemen so I don't get killed every year somehow, some way? How can you spend all that much money on a quarterback, Darian, and all those receivers and nothing on your O-line? Because Joe Burrow's hurt again. He's going to be out for 3 months with turf toe. Like, they can't get out of their own way in Cincinnati. And everybody likes him. Yeah. It's a good story, but they just can't.
Yeah, back in the day when I was growing up, I used to hear stories about there being a curse in Cincinnati with the Cincinnati Bengals. And, from my time of knowing football, it just seems like they just always make the wrong decisions, right? Like they never can seem to just put together a team that can consistently compete. They'll be in and out. They'll be good one year and then horrible the next. So my thing is, I think it may be more of a front office and management thing more so than just go out and get the old linemen, because, I mean, for years you should have been building the old line up to a point where you don't have to go out and spend all this money to put the old line together. So I think in Cincy, it's just a front office problem.
All right, let's see what happened. It's interesting. Like I said, Cowboys are a dog going into Chicago.
Yeah, that sounds like one of those bets where you jump on now, and then Vegas will switch that line later in the week when an influx of money comes in with that, putting it on the Cowboys.
Hey, since you're a Florida resident living in Del Boca Vista, do you just do the right thing for Mike McDaniel and fire him now? He looks terrible. Like, did you see him at the podium yesterday? He's a beaten man. He just looks beat up. Honestly, he doesn't look right as a human. Like, he just looks, he can't even look up anymore. I feel bad for him.
Yeah. Man, when you get in situations like that, they say you age in tens, not 1 year at a time. And it just seems that way for him. And when you're dealing with all this stuff with Tyreek Hill, man, I mean, 1 week he wants to play, he's excited. He and Tua are the best of friends. And then the next week they're going at each other. And Tyreek with all this off the field stuff. I mean, it's just tons of problems that he's dealing with that team. And I know he's looking back saying, man, I was more comfortable as an offensive coordinator, because just being in charge of a franchise, it's not all that I thought it was. So, I feel bad for him. I think he's a great coach. He has a great system. But, you can put yourself in bad situations if you get the wrong players. And I think he and that Tyreek Hill relationship has just burnt him out for sure.
All right, Doubles. Thanks so much. We'll see what happens. We've got a bye week this week, so next week we'll regroup. Riders will regroup. We'll talk some NFL. We'll chat with you in 7 days.
Sounds good. Take care, guys.
Right on. That is Double Talk with Darian Durant. It's brought to you by Campbell Safety Consulting, where they work towards helping companies create a competitive edge by executing a proactive health and safety program. You can find them at campbellsafety.com. We'll go to break. Come back. We're going to have the ticker. Maz and I will keep running down the Rider game, and we'll see what's up with this NFL game. First one on. It's the Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com. We got an NFL game on right now. The Houston Texans 10-7 on top of Tampa Bay. We got 33 seconds left in the first. Another game tonight. Chargers in Las Vegas. The Chargers 3.5-point favorite there. Tough news for Cincinnati fans. Joe Burrow, turf toe. He's going to be out at least 3 months. Blue Jays starting right now, actually, against the Tampa Bay Rays. They're 4 up on the Yankees in the AL East. SportsCage.com poll today. How concerned are you following the Saskatchewan Roughriders 48-31 loss to Montreal. There's 3 different choices. You can pick one at sportscage.com. In hour 3, the sports ticker is for Regina Steelcraft Doors, made in Western Canada for Western Canada. They're now into their new 40,000 square foot location in Regina. Mavs Baker Mayfield slinging it. It's a very entertaining game. I'm watching it out of the corner of my eye here. The other news today, too, it came down yesterday for the Riders, is they added former NFL defensive back Sheldrick Redwine. Love that handle. 6 foot.
Doubles would eat him up in his first game. If Milk Collins got torched by Darian would light this guy up for 300 yards.
Sheldrick's got some NFL pedigree. Over 2 full seasons with the Browns, played 27 games. He spent time with the Carolina Panthers, also the Jets, the Dolphins, Cowboys.
See, those are teams, like when you're drafted by the Browns, hey, trust me, if you get drafted in the NFL, that's pretty special. But then you go Browns, Jets, Dolphins, you're like, like if it's different, was drafted by the New England Patriots. Played 3 years under Belichick.
Nah, Belichick is a little warped as well. That's actually a really good debate we could have. What would be the best team, fundamentally, that you could have been drafted to NFL-wise over the last little while?
There's an interview last week that Tom Brady was, I think it was with Colin Cowherd, and he was asked about, does Caleb Williams basically have until Thanksgiving of this year before they decide if he's a bust? And Tom said, hold on a sec. He was the number 1 overall pick. But does anybody grade the head coaches and the quarterback coaches? What if Caleb Williams has the 32nd best quarterback coach in the NFL? All right. Is it Caleb's fault or is it his fault? He said he was very fortunate that he had really good coaches in New England that helped him. And he had Belichick that taught him how to read defense. He said nobody's getting that anymore. So you want to blame the player, obviously. But what about the coaching behind the scenes? Like Double said, Anthony Calvillo can probably explain things in a way in a meeting room where a guy like a McLeod Bethel Thompson who's played football forever go, oh, okay, I get it. That's the part that we obviously don't see.
It's still, I'm reading the text messages here. Stevie Scott, the third running back for Montreal. 125
he looked smooth
yards.
And in control, yeah.
Yeah,
he just would take a step. He busted it outside. And a lot of people have been able to run to the Riders on the outside and hit the edge. But Stevie just kind of not in a speed, like he's not like Ouellette hitting the hole hard. He just picked his spots and then just shot through 6 yards.
I'm glad
5 yards,
of all the
7 yards.
text messages and all the engagement and Jeffrey stirring the pot on the YouTube chat and Prairie Land Rentals text line. We've only had the one say, you know what, I called it. I said it was a trap game. No, we did not think that the Riders were going to lose to Montreal at home. And handled fairly convincingly as well. No one predicted that. Looking back, maybe the rain would have been a great thing for the Riders. Let it pour down.
If you're looking ahead, Rider fans, just know when we go to Commonwealth in a couple of weeks, that is the Edmonton Elk Grey Cup. They're fighting for their playoff lives. And if trust me, they got to win. And they got to win everything. So you don't think that Mark Killam will have, I know they got a game this week, but that game against the Riders is going to be their Grey Cup. Them fired up at home. They're going to get a good crowd. It's going to be half Rider fans, just like the city of Edmonton. It's full of people from Saskatchewan.
How many Morgan Wallen concert T-shirts are we going to see floating around now?
Oh, at work today, like back in the motherland here. How many Morgan Wallen shirts? Oh, speaking of, I changed my opinion on Keith Urban after seeing the set list from the show on Saturday at the Brand Center. What was your favorite song? How was Better Life? I'll start you off. How was Better Life? I love that song live.
Good. Seen it all that. I like Messed Up Is Me, actually. One of his newer tracks. I really dig that song now. But It is. The Morgan Wallen walkout with Connor McDavid, to each of their own. I thought it was awkward. Poor Connor looked like a hockey player that didn't want the attention. Meanwhile, Morgan Wallen is just all about it. Lots of people from Saskatchewan went to that. Speaking of concerts, still getting some messages in at 936-6262. What's your favorite live song? The band live, Throwing Copper. Lightning Crashes, definite front runner today. I Alone is in there too. Somebody, who is this? Please, you got to leave your name and number. They didn't leave their name. They left their number. The Dolphins Cry. It's actually their third album, but their second big one. That's got a nice little riff guitar at the start. Live's coming to SaskTel Center March 1st. SportsCage has tickets to give away. We'll have a pair tomorrow as well. Big Wreck and Econoline Crusher with them. So you still got a few minutes. 936-6262. What's your favorite live song Colson will pick? Colson has no idea who Live is.
Of course he doesn't, that's why I like Colson, because I love bringing up topics that it's like he has no idea what I'm talking about. Because I said Starships, Nothing's Going to Stop Us Now last week when we were interviewing Charleston Hughes, and I knew. And then the other thing too, I asked Colson a question because somebody on the text line during the show texted in they wanted to hear Willie Nelson and Ray Charles, Seven Spanish Angels. And I said, any day, all day long. You want to hear that song? Let's play that song. Colson, I have no idea. And I said, do you know who sings Hello, Darlin'? And I said, if Conway Twitty does not roll off your tongue instantly, we don't have anything to talk about. And he had no idea who Conway Twitty was.
Yeah.
I know exactly. Speaking of Rider Foundation 50-50, wouldn't this be funny? This week, you can win a trip to go see the Oilers play on Connor McDavid's last season in Edmonton. We're adding in that part. They didn't add in that part. But wouldn't it be funny to be like, well, could be. He's only got 8 months left. Doesn't have to stick around. He put in his time. What else does he have to do? He doesn't owe you anything.
No.
Blame the organization. Don't blame Connor.
We got lots of hockey talk coming up the rest of the week, too. Riders on a bye week. Western Hockey League starting. SJHL is starting. We got high school football. There's a game tomorrow in Lemberg. All that. We come back. We'll talk a little bit about the Rams and Thunder and their weekend. It's a Sports Cage on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM. Lots of live fans coming out of the woodwork now. We got 2 tickets to give away tomorrow, so if you don't get them today, try again tomorrow. March 1st up in Saskatoon at SaskTel Center. Somebody just messaged in here, James, up in Saskatoon, listening. Thanks for listening up there, James. You gotta let us know if you're from Saskatoon or East Side or West Side. He needs the live tickets. He loves the album. He missed the acoustic tour in Saskatoon doing the whole album. I went to that one here in Regina. It was like the anniversary tour, and they did the acoustic. They played the whole album. It was awesome. Then the second time I saw them, Maz, was at the you know this place because you got me into it. The old Hard Rock Cafe or the old Hard Rock Hotel in Vegas, the Joint, but it was the new Joint, so it was a little bit bigger, and it was live. Live opened up for Bush. What a night!
Nice.
What a night of music. And Mrs. S was like, meh, and then by the end of it, she was like, that was good.
And
Gavin
now you
Rosdale.
don't like Oasis if you like all of that. Speaking of, hey, and I get it. Concert tickets nowadays with the cost of everything, these are a little mint. Have you seen the price of Halloween candy?
Have you seen how busy
everything's gone up?
Have you seen how busy nail salons are? Things are fine. Things are going fine. Lined up outside the door. Escalades and fence.
Your nail salon analogy. Okay,
yeah.
But I'm saying
big SUVs outside. Everything's good.
That box of 120 like Coffee Crisp and Smarties, and what else is in there? The Aero bars. That used to be $19.99 for 120. It's $29.99 now. The bars are smaller. Nothing's changed.
University of Regina Rams are a wagon. 3-0, big win over UBC on the road. Tough place to win, 37-20. They're getting ready to make their way up to Saskatoon Friday night. If I was in town, I would be going to that game. But I am going to be in Austin, Texas. If you follow us on our social medias, the Sports Cage, I'm going to document this high school football game I'm going to. It's Westlake versus one of their big rivals. And the guy, they've been so accommodating. They've been great. And he says, yeah, we'll get you hooked up. It's awesome. There'll be a tailgate. I'll point you. There's a volleyball game going on in the gym if you want to go check that out. The game's sold out. I said, whoa. What are we talking here for the sellout? He goes, there'll be between 10 and 12,000 people. This will be awesome. And I went to a game in Southlake, Texas, a while, probably 8 years ago. And then I found out after, people were so nice. The stadium was unbelievable. I found out Southlake, Texas, outside of Dallas, one of the richest area codes in America. It all made sense now. Their team store was unbelievable in the stadium.
And if you're going to Austin, can you tell everybody, UT fans, Longhorns, lay off Arch Manning. He started 4 games now. He's not a bust. He's not a write-off. They beat UTEP on the weekend. They're fine.
We're watching them play Sam Houston Saturday night, and I'm sure they'll hammer them. Regina Thunder, they're 4-1, 25-12 win over visiting Winnipeg on Saturday. Peter Borsch doing his thing again, 183 on the ground. Adam Mosier was 14-29, 199 yards. They go to Winnipeg this weekend. So both of those teams win. Riders unfortunately lose. And then if you missed it, the Roughriders and Co-op have partnered to deliver the landmark community zone at Mosaic Stadium. $20 tickets, 2,000 seats, spanning the entire 600 level, the east side of Mosaic. That must be the side that the TV gets most. Yeah, it is. Smart. Yeah. Strategic. Yeah, so $20 tickets in for everything except next year Labor Day will not be included, and home playoff games, they're $30, so only $10 more. So you buy less Halloween candy and get to go to those games.
Here's the other thing too. What is it? September 15th. The kids haven't really done any schoolwork. Do we really need interviews already or meet the teacher or whatever? It's a little early, right? Little early. That's Thursday. Like, come on, what are we doing here?
14-10, 9:34 left in the second quarter, Tampa Bay.
Remember last year, Barney? And if you've listened to the show, you'll know this. Remember last year when I innocently asked the question, like, well, why don't we have the football game on TV? Because the cable got cut off. Because didn't pay the bill or said we weren't paying for it anymore. We got it back, which is great.
No, I think actually we just ran
it over like that.
We ran a coaxial cable from the neighbors in the building.
Nice.
That's classic. Just like when you were in your early 20s. Hey, do you want to go to that fourplex where you all lived in? Well, let's just all split cable. We'll get what were those things called? Cheaters, splicers, whatever they were.
Something like that. Quick coaxial story. The house my parents live in right now, which they've been in for 20 plus years. When they moved in, my dad just turned the TV on and it was working. And he never checked in with the cable package. They turned it off, I think it was in 21. But 20 years, just free, had about 100 channels. That's all you needed. So
I would hear stories.
Sometimes the good guys win. Coulson, that's a story. That's a good guy winning right there. Because I am paying through the nose for cable, internet, and my landline.
Access Communications, trusted in rural and the cities. That's where you got to get on it. I remember hearing stories, again, on the west side, where people figured out how to get into those boxes back in the day, and they would know how to flip on the cables. And some people got free super channel, man. Free super channel.
If you had a key that could unlock that box and it was a special key and that, you could do some favors. Don't you remember? But the world wasn't it just a better place back then where just somebody would do a solid, or you just hook up all the neighbors? Oh, speaking. So I teased. Somebody texted last week, Maz, you teased a neighbor update, but you never gave it. Real quick. Last week, I'm going to pick up one of the kids from school because there's 3 different schools and it's really confusing. So I'm leaving, but I got to slow down because a city truck pulls up right in front of me. And on our cul-de-sac, there's a little green space. Couple of bushes, a bench, and some grass, which is basically a dandelion and mosquito breeding field. And this guy hops out of the truck, and I roll down my window, and he's got his iPhone out and he's taking pictures. And I said, "Oh, what are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I'm taking pictures." He goes, "Had a few complaints already today. Apparently the crew we sent out here, or the contractor, didn't do a very good job." And it looked like they just sort of pushed the grass around. They didn't cut it because of the tops of the dandelions. And all I could think is, I bet you I know where the first phone call came from to get you guys out here to do it. And then when they came back, so what was that? Like on Tuesday, they come back on Friday. Well, you should have seen, there was 4 different neighbors, including the one standing there, everybody arms folded, watching these guys recut the grass and weed whacker the grass, just standing there lording over their tax dollars. And by the way, man, are we in trouble, right? Like Regina's out of money. We're running a deficit. And then we got to dip into our little coffee can of money here to pay off what we owe.
Well, because people got to get rescued from the underpasses. Stop being a mouth breather and try to drive through a lake, basically. You're not going to make it. And then the poor fire department's got to go out and save you. Oh, how annoying. Somebody texted in on the Prairie Land Rentals text line, Maz, why is Halloween a 3-month event now? I would love to. I don't know if I'd be allowed on this show. I know it's a sports show, but we like talking about life because that's just how it is. And people seem to enjoy it because they engage with us. I would like to interview whoever would be able to and in charge of the Spirit of Halloween stores. How do you guys pick? Ooh. How does that whole work? How does it work? Do you just wait for a company to go bankrupt and then you take over that business? How many people do you have around the country?
But Barney, here's the thing, because we drove past one and I said to my wife, I said, here's the key that they're missing. They need to hire me in their marketing department. The minute Halloween's over, flip the sign, Spirit of Christmas. You're already there buying stuff for the same places wherever you're getting this stuff from. You go Spirit of Christmas. Well, boom, you've got everybody.
How about our production meeting today? We started teeing up already. The Christmas song bracket is going to be back this year. It's open for sponsorship.
I'm still
protesting. It's open for sponsorship.
There were some horrible choices.
Let's go.
There were horrible choices.
Listen to anything in podcast form that you missed today. Luc Mullinder was great. He got unbuttoned. If you want to go unbutton his shirt, that's on YouTube as well. And Darian Durant. Western Pizza guest hotline was buzzing. Perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings. No need to cook tonight. Grab a Western Pizza or any of the Greek favorites. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll have more live tickets to give away. Colson's going to award the live tickets from today. And that was a lot of fun. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.